Have you ever needed to generate email template with some placeholders, customer names, discounts, even loops and conditional text, and wished you could use it directly from a C# template at runtime? In this video, I'll show you how to do that exactly with C# Eval Expression, starting with a rigid before approach and then upgrading it to a clean dynamic template you can reuse everywhere. Let's go. So I will show you an example of Black Friday email for customer, and this is such email that we need to send, and for that purpose we will need a template. Okay, here we have two minimal API endpoints. The first one is template before. That's an old way how we can do this in C#, and template after is a new approach by using C# evaluation expression. So here I have created email template helper class for all the methods we will need here. So let's first take a look on the model that we have. So we have a campaign and categories which we are going to use to calculate additional discounts. The first thing we are going to do is to get campaign data. We are just returning some dummy data with a couple of categories and discounts. And for the subject and body, I use render subject before method and render body before method. For render subject before, it is a just pure string interpolation. For customer name, we are using customer name property from campaign and also maximum discount from the campaign. And here is the main part. So I'm building email using string interpolation and string builder loop. So for each category, I'm building HTML list in string builder. We have a loyalty message which depends on loyalty points, and we are returning string interpolated block with all the data we have from the campaign, including customer name, max discount, as well as campaign and date, and we are returning that to the front. So let's try this one. So we have template before, and for the customer I will pass my email. I will send that, and we will have subject Black Friday deal for Stefan, which is my name, and 70% off, which is maximum discount. In body we have a couple of things. We also have a name, we also have a maximum discount, and also we have all the list tags in HTML for each category, and we have expiration date. And this works, but it's rigid. For example, if marketing changes the tone, markup, or adds a new block, I'm back in a C# code editing concatenations. It's also easy to make formatting mistakes, and it's hard to preview the final layout as whole. Okay, so is there a better solution for this? Yes, of course. This is the place where C# Eval Expressions comes to the story. C# Eval Expression is one of the most powerful and flexible expression evaluators you can find out there, and it allows you to evaluate and execute C# code on the fly. So to use it, you need to add a NuGet package, Z Expressions Eval, and it's compatible with .NET, .NET Core, and .NET Framework. Okay, now the after version. So I have written two templates: get subject template after and get body template after. One is for the subject of the email and another is for the body. Just to show you, these are plain strings with placeholder like customer name and max discount in get subject template for. The body template also includes inline C# for dynamic session like looping over categories and applying conditional content based on loyalty points. This one here, which is really great that you can put this directly in the string. Let's return back. So we are getting a campaign again with the same data. We are getting subject template and body template. Both are just a string values, and we are using a small method coming from this library where I will just pass template and I will pass campaign object. Inside I'm using Eval.Execute of the string with rendering template by using object of the campaign I pass here. Two important things here. I pass a campaign object as a variable so that template can access its properties directly. And I'm using this format just to quote template safely so I can write multi-line content without escaping quotes all over the place. And we are using the same render for the subject and for the body, and as before we are returning that to the frontend. Let's try this one now. Application is up and running. I will use another endpoint with the same email address and I will get completely the same result. You can see the customer name, you can see max discount, also in the body you can see the end date, and you can see the message about the loyalty points. Fine, this is really awesome. But let's zoom in the most powerful part of this templating, which is inline C# code. So inside the template, I can open the C# code block by using double open brackets and write a real code. I can use string builder, loop through categories, and return generated HTML string. Also, I can use conditions to dynamically render text based on loyalty points in this case. This keeps business rules close to the content and makes template fully dynamic. And so why is this so valuable? This approach makes email generation maintainable and testable. So marketing can tweak templates without changing C# logic. For example, if I need to add additional condition, instead of writing another C# code here, I can just put it directly in the template and that will work as charm. Also, you can unit test the rendering by passing different campaign values. I already mentioned availability to have complex dynamic sections such list, conditions, and because it's a C#, you get a full language power when you need it. Let's take a look on another example. So imagine you're building an application where users can search or filter data based on their own inputs. Maybe filtering a product by price or customers by status or total spends, etc. Normally, you would have to write a lot of conditional logic, switch statements, or separate Linq queries for every possible combination. But what if you could build that query dynamically just as a string and let C# execute it at runtime? Yeah, that's possible. That's exactly where Eval Expression comes in. So it allows you to evaluate and execute Linq queries, mathematical expressions, or even full snippets of C# code, and all of that dynamically. And this makes it incredibly powerful for building some custom dashboards, search filters, or query builders for your application. In this example, I will show you how you can dynamically filter a list of users based on runtime values without writing a single static query. So let's jump into the code. Here we have an endpoint that accepts decimal minimum spend and only active boolean parameter. We have a sample data I just created for users. Each user contains ID, name, is active boolean, and total spend. And then instead of writing a normal static query, I build the same logic as a string. So Linq query I wrote in a string. So you can think of this like a dynamic value passed in runtime. And I have prepared helpers method and I will pass that expression with the object that contains user, only active, and minimal spend into method where I'm going to use Eval.Execute method. Instead of using string as a return value like in our email template, I will return list of users. So I will pass expression and I will pass object with the properties that execute method will use to generate this expression and to execute it. After that, I will have filter user and I will return that list. Okay, let's take a look how this is going to work. So we have dynamic Linq example. I will pass, let's say $1,000 and I want only active users. I will send that and I will get two users where both spent more than $1,000 and both are active. So this is a great way to make your applications more dynamic and data driven, especially when you want to give users flexibility to define queries at runtime without needing to recompile your code at all. This was a really nice example, but let's see this in real action using database and using Entity Framework Core. So for the third example, imagine you're running a newsletter and you want to find people who are active, highly engaged, and subscribe to specific plans. normally in that case, you will have to build a couple of Linq queries or condition checks manually. But what if your frontend could just send those conditionals dynamically and your API executes them directly on the database? Yeah, that's possible with dynamic Linq using C# evaluation. For example, you want to filter data and you want to sort data and you want to send that dynamically and be able to understand this and to execute it directly on the database. Let me show you how to do that. As an entity, I have a subscriber and we have a plan for each subscriber. I have created simple application DB context, run a migration on the database, and we have two tables with pre-populated data, subscribers and plans. For the returning data, we will use subscriber DTO as a record, and we have one more thing here, which is a subscriber filter request, which is contained of filter and sort string values to be able to send this body type. Okay, let's check that endpoint. From the database, I will get all the subscribers as a queryable. I don't want to materialize this list here. And I will check if filter is not empty. If so, I will execute this expression in filter by using WhereDynamic. The similar thing for sorting, I will use OrderByDynamic method that will dynamically evaluate and execute this sorting expression projection to subscriber DTO. As you can see, WhereDynamic and OrderByDynamic are executed directly on iQueryable. So those methods are extensions coming from C# Eval Expression library. And if we try to execute this one, so we have API subscribers, I will pass dynamically expression that I need. So I will try to get all active subscribers with engaging score greater than 80 and that are joined before this date. And I will get the results. If you can compare, engaging score is 88, engaging score is 95, both are active and both are joined before the specified date. Here's the interesting part. When we send JSON payload like this, Entity Framework actually translates those dynamic Linq strings into a real CQL query. We are filtering the data dynamically, passing filter expression into payload, and also we are doing sorting by monthly price from the plan. So this approach is extremely powerful for dynamic dashboards, admin panels, or reporting APIs. On that places when users can build their own filters dynamically without writing backend code. So for this, I don't need to write any C# backend code. And for example, if I need to add additional condition here, for example, that monthly price is greater than 30, and if I execute this one, I will get that one subscriber which plan monthly price is greater than 30. And this allows me to write directly my expression in payload without changing any C# code, rebuild application and redeploy application. If you have those filter expressions prepared somewhere in a database, you can just access them and use it directly in your code, and C# Eval Expression will dynamically execute them. So you can easily extend this to include pagination, complex joins, or even multiple filter groups. And the best part, you're still leveraging the full power of Entity Framework core and the database that you are using. Here I have a couple of tips and tricks what to do and what not to do with Eval expressions. So the first one is whitelist fields and operators. So don't expose your whole model. Map UI to a low list. You should validate expressions. So you need to reject unknown tokens and filters before execution. The third thing, as I demonstrated in the example, stay on iQueryable until the end. Apply dynamic logic before materializing, before converting to list, just to be able for Entity Framework to translate it to CQL. Of course, you should normalize all the values, you should use some standards, also snapshot all the test save the rules. The last one but not least, keep it readable. So prefer small composable strings. You can centralize building helpers like I did in those examples. Yeah, by the way, code for this this video you can find down below in the description, of course completely for free. And where I wouldn't use C# Eval expressions, if you got couple of fixed filters, 2, 3, 4 filters that rarely change, static Linq stays the simplest and perfectly fine. So dynamic is good to use in those cases where you have a big pool of those filters. At the end, dynamic Linq is not about some clever tricks or something. It's about giving users freedom to define filters while keeping your code clean and maintainable. I would say it's a fastest path from we need custom filters to we are shipping features. Ooh, this is nice sentence. Well done, Stefan. And last thing I would like to mention, C# Eval expressions is completely free to use. So I will put a link down below in the description, and I really recommend it to try it. In that link below you can find hundreds of the examples of using C# Eval expression, also using dynamic Linq. So guys, that's all from my side for today. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, thumbs up that like, subscribe for more, and see you in the next video. Bye.